Do I look professional? Do I seem like I have it together? I don't! No, I do. I don't. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I hope that you are staying healthy and safe and thriving in this whole quarantine situation, because today, my friends, we are going to do something we have never done on this channel, and quite frankly, I have just never done at all. We're gonna take a walk down memory lane and delve into some of my celebrity experiences, because after spending so many years, I think I've been doing the whole entertainment news host thing for, I think, at least 15 years at this point. It turns out you have a lot of stories, and it's weird that I've never done this before, especially considering, I kid you not, almost every time I meet a new person, they're like, so tell me, who's the worst person? Who's the best person? And I gotta say, right off the bat, most of the celebrities that I've ever encountered have been nothing short of glorious, wonderful, and lovely. So I know that Lily just did a video like this too, and she has been trying to get me to do a video like this for forever. So here we are, and as I was thinking about all of the various situations that I've been in and things that have happened and cool people I've met and embarrassing things that I've done in general, I realized this list could be endless. So hit the comments and let me know if you want this to be an ongoing series, because your girl has stories that could go on forever. I mean, here's the crazy thing. Even before I started working with Dana and the whole team building Clevver, which was like 11 or 12 years ago at this point, I was already working at other places and like on the grind and covering red carpets every night. I swear to you, I used to interview Bella Thorne and Bailey Madison when they were in kindergarten, quite literally.
Who's your favorite? Nick Jonas.
And why?
Because of his eyes and his curly hair.
And I know that people love the behind the scenes stories, and I've never had the opportunity to share basically any of these stories, so I hope that you guys enjoy them because it's been a lot. Okay, so for the first story, I'm gonna go way back in time, all the way to the year 2009. We were kind of just like starting to get traction at Clevver, and we were trying to like differentiate ourselves in the world of entertainment news by covering young celebrities, because back then you have to keep in mind that like all these TV shows and websites and anyone covering entertainment news was covering like the older celebrities at the time, the Brad Pitts and the Jennifer Anistons. Like, no one was really talking about Hannah Montana, the Jonas Brothers, or anyone on Disney Channel, and they definitely did not care at all about anyone on YouTube. Quite frankly, back then, everyone thought YouTube was like below them, but alas, that's where we were, and we definitely thought YouTube was gonna be like the next big thing. And I remember my boss at the time being like, oh my gosh, there is this kid who's making YouTube videos, and he is super talented, he's super cute, everyone on YouTube loves him. And then we found out that Usher did a collab with him. I'm sure you guys are guessing where this is going. It's freaking Justin Bieber. So we started covering Justin Bieber like way before everyone else.
The BFFs then headed over to celebrate the release of My World with a little sushi dinner. Yum.
I think he was like 13 or 14 years old, and he had his, what was it called, like Kid Rawl channel? Do you guys remember that? We were like in the thick of it. We were obsessed with him. And then Dana, as it turns out, knew his manager somehow, Scooter Braun. And so we kept trying to set up interviews with this kid, because we were just like, we have to get him in. He's on YouTube. We're on YouTube. It's perfect. But then, as you guys know, his career started exploding so quickly. One day we find out super last minute, Justin Bieber is doing a free concert in a parking lot. Which, like, just saying that out loud sounds crazy. But this was 2009. It was a different era in time. So my boss is like, hey, Joslyn, we're getting an interview with Justin Bieber. He's performing in the parking lot of this outlet mall on the outskirts of LA, like in the suburbs. It's tonight. You gotta go. And I was like, hells yeah, I want to interview this kid. Like, I think he's gonna be the next big thing. So I roll up to this outlet mall, and immediately I'm like, this is crazy. There were thousands and thousands of teen girls. I don't know how many, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if there was like 15,000 out in this parking lot with a pretty small stage that was set up by Radio Disney, who was hosting the whole thing. And I remember looking at it and being like, this feels like it could get out of control really quick. I'm standing towards the back of the crowd. Justin Bieber comes on stage and he had a cast on his leg. I don't know if he had like broken his foot or his leg. I cannot remember the story at this point, but he just starts like performing his heart out. And then it was like things got a little fuzzy for me, but I'm pretty sure that it became apparent that it was just not a safe situation for the fans in the crowd because there was just too many people there.
You guys really need to back up. People in the front are getting hurt.
Everybody please take a step to the left if you're right in front
Take a
of me.
step back.
So we started getting the vibe that like the concert was gonna get shut down altogether, but we were still there for our interview. So I was like, okay, we gotta book it over to where Justin is, and they had him up in some building that was at the mall. Like he had a little room there or whatever. Me and my camera guy start running over towards this building that we know Justin Bieber is going to be inside of, like where his dressing room was. So as we start heading over to the building, the crowd, which started realizing this concert's gonna get shut down, they see me leaving and they start like following me. Next thing I know, I am like barricaded up against a glass wall against the lobby of this building, and there's no way that like security can let me in at this point because there's like thousands of people behind me. I had my mic flag, we had the camera, people could definitely tell what was going on. Eventually, security was able to get us in through another door. We go inside, we find Scooter Braun, which is so crazy because like he was just starting out in his career too, and look at the empire that he's built. It's quite frankly nothing short of like wow. Anywho, so we talked to him and he's like, you know, like Justin's super bummed. He's really sad that he couldn't finish the concert. He's having a hard time. By the way, you guys, again, he was 14. He was just a kid. Like he should have been in 8th grade. So he's like, I don't know if it's gonna work out. Like, I don't think he can do the interview. I think he's just too sad. And you guys, at that point, I just glanced over to the side and I saw this sweet kid, 14-year-old Justin Bieber, just sitting there, just like signing like a stack of autographs that was like this tall. And he looked so sad and so disappointed, and I was like, you know what, no big deal, totally understand. And that, my friends, is when I missed my opportunity to have a hard-hitting one-on-one with a 14-year-old Justin Bieber. I still am sad about it to this day. We did end up going on at Clevver to chat with him a few times over the years, but I do remember being there and being like, I don't think I've ever seen another kid A, as talented, just like straight up raw talent, B, as hardworking, or C, as emotionally invested in what they're doing in like a real way. Ever since then, I've been like a huge fan. I think I have an unhealthy investment in his happiness. When he got engaged to Haley Baldwin at the time, I think I actually cried. So that's my first story about getting barricaded in a building with Justin Bieber in 2009. But for the next story, I feel like I want to like flash forward in time to something a little bit more recent, and that was, oh my gosh, that was my moment with Mariah Carey. Honestly, it makes me laugh just thinking about it because I do get scared meeting people now that I really, really love, because there's always that possibility that when you meet them, they're gonna have like a bad day or it's not gonna go the way you always hoped and dreamed. But you guys, my moment with Mariah Carey was so perfect. I can't even begin to tell you. So I got invited to interview at the junket for this Christmas movie she was doing in 2017. You know, she's a huge celebrity. So when you're gonna interview someone that's that famous, you have like rules that you have to follow. You can't be like, tell me about your worst breakup or tell me about your divorce. You already know you're not doing that. I just wanted to go in there and have a great chat with Mimi. You know, that's what I call her privately, at least. I just wanted to go in there and have a great interview with her and have a little bit of fun. I get to the interview and there's a ton of other press there. By this point in time, I have done like hundreds, if not thousands of interviews, and a lot of them with super famous people. Never have I seen members of the press more shook, more scared, more like walking around outside the door like, what am I gonna do, than I have when they're going to interview Mariah Carey. And I'm standing out there like, she seems awesome. I'm freaking excited to meet her. I go in to sit down with Mariah. I look absolutely ridiculous. Not a shocker. I had on a Santa hat because it was a Christmas movie and I was like, duh, of course I'm gonna rock a Santa hat when I'm talking about a Christmas movie. And I had been told like, don't touch her, don't hug her, whatever. I mean, listen, these people don't want to get my germs, and also they don't want their hair to get messed up. I totally understand. So I sit in my chair, she's sitting in her chair. I have 3 minutes to talk to her. She's just so beautiful. She's glowing like a freaking angel. I just looked at her and I was like, waited until, you know, they started rolling the cameras, and I was like, Mariah Carey, let me be the first person to say, Merry Christmas, Mariah Carey.
You're officially the Queen of Christmas. I'm crowning you if you haven't already been, because
I'm going to embrace that and take it as a huge compliment.
You guys, I was unhinged. I was acting totally crazy, and you can see it in the video that she laughs. But like, she was definitely laughing at me, not with me, and I welcomed it. Like, I knew I was acting totally crazy, but she was so lovely and so sweet. I think she even complimented me, which like she didn't have to do. I think she told me she liked my necklace or thought I looked pretty or something. I just had the most lovely chat with her, and she is a celebrity who I feel like sometimes gets this rap of being a diva. And listen, if Mariah Carey wants to be a diva, she can be a diva. Like, she has earned her place and her position. But I had the most wonderful, lovely interaction with her of all time. I'm a little lamb. I'm still a diehard fan. I mean, and then of course there are so many people that we were like their first ever interview. Like Cody Simpson used to come to Clevver like every day with his whole family, or like Shay Mitchell, we were her first ever interview, and Greg Sulkin. And there were so many shows. The first ever set visit to Pretty Little Liars, no one was even there. Clevver was there. Cut to a few years later, and it's literally the hottest show on TV. Visiting the set of the Vampire Diaries. Like, the list, you guys, goes on and on and on. And I just have so many stories, even of people that I would meet. Like, the first time I ever met Selena Gomez, she was like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to meet you. I watch you. And I was like, huh? Excuse me?
I'm Joslyn from Clevver TV.
Finally,
I
I feel like I watch you all the time.
You watch Clevver TV?
Of course I do.
And there was actually a point in time, and I don't think we've ever talked about this, where we were like the featured channel on her channel. And I think there was even a discussion of us running her YouTube channel for her. This is when she was a teenager, so this was a long time ago. And then I remember meeting a lot more recently, like Millie Bobby Brown, and her telling me that she watched us, and I was like, what?
Do you know that I'm obsessed with you?
Do you know that I'm obsessed with you?
See, this is like what I can't handle. This is what I can't handle.
You guys, it never gets old. I'm always just so used to like pounding the pavement, being on the grind, even now, just like being in my room with my head down and doing the work. So when you meet people, it can be anyone. It could just be a random person on the street and they tell you that they watch. I'm still like, oh wow, it's absolutely crazy. And then like beyond that, I've just had so many crazy experiences that I can't believe ever actually happened. Like, there was this one day that I produced a shoot, not even for Clevver, but with Shania Twain, where I just hung out with her for an hour. There was the time I had brunch with Chelsea Clinton. That was so wild. There was also the time that we did the first ever interview with Fifth Harmony after they became a group, and it was on Google Hangouts, so it was live. And let me tell you guys, you just see like the finished product, but putting that shoot together, not because of them, they're amazing, and they were like all teenagers living with their parents at the time, but it was just like a technological nightmare. Because again, I know people think at Clevver there's like 85 people working on a shoot, but there was quite literally me, Dana, Lisa, Lily, and like one other person in that room. First off, trying to figure out how to like do this interview, what we were gonna ask, what we were gonna say, doing all the pre-production, but then trying to figure out the technology of it. And I'll never forget when we reached out to like YouTube or Google or whoever, they were like, oh yeah, no one's really done this before, so we'll just have to see how it goes. And we were like, okay, well, here we freaking go. And I remember when we were like setting up to go live for that, Camila was in her bedroom at her mom and dad's house, and her little sister kept like popping into the shot. Her sister's probably like 18 now, I have no idea. And then like Normani had just got a new MacBook and it wasn't really connecting correctly, and there was just like all these technology issues, but somehow we freaking pulled it out of our you-know-whats and made it happen. And that's literally the story for so many shoots. Being an entertainment news person in general, I think what's been different for me is that like I'm not just this like talking head. I've always been the person booking the shoot, booking the talent, organizing, getting my questions, figuring out how it's gonna work. It's a crazy job, to be totally honest. It's definitely not glamorous, but it's super, super fun. Oh my gosh, you guys, One Direction. In my whole career, there have been very few fandoms that stand out as much as the Directioners do. For me, it's Justin Bieber, the Believers, the Twilight fans, the Twihards, and the Directioners. One Direction fans in 2013 were on a whole other level. At the time, Dana and I had been trying to land an interview with One Direction for probably like 2 years after we found out that their movie 1D 3D This Is Us. Fun fact, I'm featured in the movie. Yeah, don't know if you guys know that. Like if Harry Styles smiled, we were talking about it. If Zayn sneezed, we were talking about it. Like these guys, every single move we were covering, especially in 2013. So we find out their movie's coming out. Sony, who was releasing the movie, was like, oh yeah, we definitely want to have you guys interview One Direction and come out to New York. And typically Dana and I would always take turns interviewing people. It just didn't make sense for us both to go interview a famous person because one of us needed to stay back at the studio. But this was such a big deal that our bosses were like, you know what? Both of you guys have been working so hard. You can both go and do this interview. So Dana and I, we fly to New York, we get all prepared, we have our questions. We were actually like so focused on the interview that I remember opening my suitcase and seeing that I had 4 pairs of shoes, but like not a single pair of pants. So we had to go shopping right away. We went to Zara. We both got like what we thought were super cute outfits at the time. A lot of peplum happening, a lot of statement necklaces. We have the big day. We go to the hotel where we're supposed to interview One Direction. And who's waiting in the room with us but Tyler Oakley, who also at the time was a Directioner. I'm sure he still is. So all of us are waiting in the room. We're talking about what we're gonna do. Tyler goes in to do his interview first, and for whatever reason, we went into the room with him to watch his interview, which is not normal. And I don't know why we did that, but I do remember it was really, really cute. He gave all of them flower crowns. So Tyler Oakley wraps up his interview and they're like, okay, it's your guys' turn. And I think the people running the room for the interviews assumed that like just one of us was gonna do it. And we were like, oh no, it's both of us. And they were like, we don't really have time to like set this up for 2 people. I don't even know if it was like an act of desperation for us or what. We were like, we can share a chair, 2 grown women. We'll just sit on one chair together. So it was like the most ridiculous thing of all time. But anytime I see that footage and I see 2 grown women, like how old were we? We must have been like around 30 at the time, with 1 butt cheek each on that stool, just conducting the most hard-hitting, important interview of our lives. I just laughed. That was our first time ever interviewing them, and I definitely talked to them after that. I was like, okay, I get it. Like these guys are so friendly and so nice and so charismatic, and like when the cameras are not rolling, they were very engaging and friendly and nice. But I did star in a film with Harry Styles. Just want to let that be known. Quick interruption from the future, guys. I am working on this video right now, and as it turns out, this video is a lot longer than I initially anticipated, and I still have like 4 or 5 stories left. So because I believe more is more, I thought, what the heck, let's turn this into a 2-parter. So be sure to subscribe because I'm going to be releasing a separate video with the rest of these stories, and when I tell you the best is yet to come, I am not lying. So be sure to subscribe for the story, specifically where I tell you about which celebrity I almost threw up on and which super famous person, Ariana Grande, I had lunch at the house of. Yeah, that's a true story, and if you want to hear all of the details, be sure to subscribe for part 2. Also, on the real, if you're still watching this video, like mad respect. Thank you so much for paying my bills. Also hit the comment section and let me know if there's like a specific celebrity that you want to hear about my experiences with, or if there's a specific Clevver situation that you're super curious about, someone I interviewed, or something that happened during my career so far as an entertainment news journalist, because from what I hear, people like these stories from behind the scenes. Again, if you're still watching, I love you so much. Be sure to subscribe for part 2, and I'll see you guys then.